If I am to be frank with you, after watching all of the Marvel Disney Plus shows, I have felt nothing but disappointment. Wandavision started off good and ended in a very boring way. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was nothing too special, and Loki is a whole problem on its own. Now, when I heard that Marvel was making an animated show that was going to be canon to the MCU, I became unbelievably excited. I ignored the bad animation from the trailer and was enthusiastic to see what kind of creativity Marvel can offer. After all, this show was clearly going to be an experiment, meaning this should have been the most, or at least one of the most creative and non-formulaic media that the MCU would have created. But instead, the people at Marvel or Disney couldn't let this happen and kept it extremely generic to the point where the show harms itself. As of making this video, I've only watched the first 2 episodes. I've heard good things about the third, but I can't be bothered to sit through another one. To answer the question of the title, what if you butcher a pilot? The answer is clear. Sure, you will lose a lot of viewers, but in this case, it's the MCU we are talking about. Fans will definitely be able to watch through an episode, most likely like it, and then if they don't, they will push through. It's how the MCU manages and thrives on painfully average material. What If will also feel like it's part of a greater thing, and that's another reason why fans will continue to watch it, even if it continues to be painfully boring. Disney has built up a base by providing little to no worth of substance, and this is very clear from how Disney has been building Star Wars to the Lion King remakes to the MCU. It's sad to see that stories from Disney no longer need to be interesting or creative because the companies don't need them as much to make money. However, the main purpose of the video isn't answering this question. This is mostly to use the what if phrasing in the title. No, we will be analyzing how easy it is to butcher a pilot episode and find out really easy mistakes writers can make. The main problem with What If's first episode is its pacing. As you might already know, they took the first Captain America movie, switched it with Peggy, and hauled it down to 30 minutes. The episode is a good summary of the movie, with little creative different directions they took in the plot, if that was what you were looking and expecting for. Of course, I can say without a doubt that nobody wanted this. To take such a random decision is beyond me, but I digress. Because they had to break down an entire movie into 30 minutes, they had to get rid of a lot of material, mostly the important ones. The entire What If episode kept most of the plot of the movie, but took out all of the character moments. Because of this, it went at a breakneck speed, reminding me of Tenet. Except Tenet was an experiment. Nolan intentionally made his character blank, but in this show, in this episode, there were attempts to make you like Peggy Carter, but they were extremely ham-fisted. Normally, a character moment or scene in the movie is supposed to be the anchor of the entire story. It is the key, or at least the most important key, to building a story. Without it, the plot just becomes and then. It becomes shallow and almost meaningless. You don't get to experience a journey among characters, but rather just view events happening. It's as if you were watching the news, but it was edited and animated in a bunch of different camera angles. For an example of a hand-fisted character moment, watch this scene. As you can see, this scene wasn't horrible on its own, but scenes are supposed to be a part of a bigger picture. This scene was just one of 3 scenes that goes for about 5 minutes of the entire episode, It tries to conclude a lot of the struggles Peggy goes through in these 2 minutes, and by moving in this pace, I simply cannot care for their relationship this late in the episode, especially with how distracting the pace is. I don't think I can blame the writers because pretty much everybody knows that this is the core aspect of any story. In What If's case, the incredibly fast pacing results in an almost Michael Bay feeling, but except it feels more awkward. When Britain doesn't want Peggy to become Captain America because she is female, this element is nothing more than what it is at face value. We don't see her overcome this issue in a fun and interesting way. We don't see her dealing with this a lot, but it's just what it is, right? What If tries to tackle this in a fast approach, but it doesn't work. They aren't even being subtle about it, and because of the fast pacing, the on-the-nose dialogue is made even worse. It's more annoying, and it is the opposite of pleasing, in my humble opinion. So, what can we learn from What If so far? A story must have creativity, character, and proper pacing. If you slightly tip one of these off in the wrong end, it could affect another part of your story in an unforeseen way. Now, the second episode is a lot better than the first because it adds a lot more character, yet it's still not good enough. It still has a generic plot where the heist mission is nothing special or creative, and we still don't have enough time to explore this new character. Although, it was nice to see Chadwick Boseman one last time. Rest in peace. The main issue with What If that I'm seeing so far is that it doesn't have enough time to explore its concepts. Therefore, it compacts it more than needs to, which creates pacing issues, plot issues, lack of creativity, and more. From watching the second episode, it is clear that they had a solid concept, but it lacked execution solely due to this problem. The idea that the new Star-Lord had been abducted and taken away from his family because of Yondu is conceptually brilliant. The amount of depth this could provide to the new Star-Lord and Yondu would have been incredible to see, but it gets resolved way too quickly because the episodes need to rush their time. I'm really hoping that What If Season 2 or later episodes are able to step up from this. Clone Wars was another animated show that had its first season similar to this, yet as it went along, it became the best Star Wars media in my opinion. I believe that if Marvel is able to step up the runtime on episodes, or at least make them story arcs over a couple of episodes, comparative to how Clone Wars did it, then many of the issues would be solved. Stories need character. It's why Tenet failed, and it's why What If failed. They need time to breathe, or else the audience will just feel overwhelmed. I'm sorry that this video has been a lot more rambly than the last one, just testing out what kind of style I should proceed in future videos. This video has been very negative, and I don't mean to attack anybody at Disney, Marvel, the writers, anybody working on this. It's clear that they put a lot of effort into it, and I'm really happy that it at least exists. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe. This should be the second video I've released on this channel, so any feedback would be helpful. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again shortly.